Okay, finally, we are actually live and things are working, which is good. And I think I'm going to be able to check this on Facebook as well. So if you're in the Health Lab watching and you have a question, you can try typing and I'll see if I can actually answer a question in live time. So first of all, hello, I'm Chris, and let's just stop this share. So I'm going to say, hi, I'm Chris. And today I have a masterclass for you on trying to get things off on the right foot straight away in 2023. And if you do have questions, if you want to join me live, then we'll do that at the end. But this is going to be recorded. It will be in the Facebook group, but it will also be put on YouTube publicly as well. So if you don't want to be live, and you don't want this to actually go on YouTube, then don't request to come on live. So let's get back to sharing the screen so that I can go through here. So basically my goal is to get you from goal setting to goal getting and inspire you to more self-health responsibility, because I believe that's going to lead to more self-peace. I actually know that to be true. And hopefully if there are more people at self-peace, there's going to be more general world peace, and we have to start taking this responsibility on to ourselves, because as far as I'm concerned, world leaders aren't doing a good enough job on either health or peace, and they're too busy talking about politics and power. So yeah, I can back up my my thoughts, but let's just progress with today. So opening thoughts. According to some research done in 2016, only 9% of the 41% of Americans who make New Year's resolutions feel they were successful in keeping them. So that basically means 91% of people who set New Year's resolutions fail to keep them. Now, it's probably going to be similar in the UK and different countries, may vary a little bit, but basically, most of the people who make commitments, and it doesn't really matter if it is a New Year commitment or not, most people who make some kind of commitment to be healthy or to do this or to do that fail to keep them for various reasons. And I'm going to hopefully give you some really clear targets to aim for and how to aim for them properly. Very simple way. And this is just week one, because I plan to be going live every single week for most of the year. And to go deep into a number of different things and get you started on what you need to do. And the first thing we actually need to address, I'll put actually, because I was going to speak about gut health, but I'm not going to speak about gut health. Okay, but basically the first thing to address for gut health, weight loss and anxiety is one of the things I'm going to be talking about anyway. Okay, Aldous Huxley quote, medical science has made such tremendous progress that there is hardly a healthy human left. It may sound like a jest, but it's actually true in so many ways. Medical science is doing all kinds of things at keeping people alive, but it's not necessarily making them healthier. There's a big difference. And one of my favorite quotes, it's no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. It's Jiddu Krishnamurti, and this is a very sick society in many ways. And I want you to realize that it's your decisions that actually make you healthier than anything else. It's your decisions about what foods you eat. It's your decisions about whether you exercise or not. It's your decision about how you actually practice to breathe. It's your decision on whether you not decide to actually do some kind of detoxification. There's all kinds of decisions that you can make that are in your control. And most of your health is in some way in your control. And the healthier you are, the more control you actually do have as well. And also, the unhealthier you are, you still have a lot of control. It just takes time to bring it back to where you want it to be. There's always going to be someone that's an exception to the rule, but most of the time there's something that can be done. So what we're going to cover today is what to expect in the year ahead. Kind of covered that to a small extent. The benefits of the heroic protocol, the number one aspect of health check before testing for anything else, which is getting back to what I was speaking about earlier, the remedy that negates the number one thing that you should actually check for. Then we're going to talk about truth or soul force, Elite Mindset 101, start, stop, and the first 5 days. So let's just check. We've got everything here. That's good. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So, well, here's my heroic certificate. You can stop and read that later if you're watching the replay. And again, another of my favorite quotes: if you want to teach people a new way of thinking, don't bother trying to teach them. Instead, give them a tool, the use of which will lead to new ways of thinking. And that's Richard Buckminster Fuller. So, one of the things I want to introduce over the next year is mental performance mastery. And there are 10 major pillars: elite mindset, which I've covered a little bit before, motivation and commitment, focus and awareness, self-control and discipline, process over outcome, which we're actually going to be covering today, pillar number 5, meditation and mental imagery, routines and habits of excellence, time management and organization, leadership and the right culture. And there are tools within each one of these. So going back to Mr. Bucky Fuller, okay, it's about tools, and there are lots of tools in here to help you think better and perform better. And this is based on sports psychology and taking teams and people who are already amazingly healthy and at the top of their game and making them even better and turning them into gold medalists, making them into world champions. And the mindset training that athletes use to make themselves better can be used to make you better and healthier and more resilient as well. It's the same with nutrition. Spoken about this before. Is this world of sports nutrition actually directly applies to geriatric nutrition, because the sorts of things that athletes need to do to get better, move more, have better performance, have more awareness, more focus, also helps the geriatric population. And if you're somewhere in between an athlete and a geriatric, then again, this will help. So that's mental performance mastery, which I'm certified in. And then heroic. Now, the heroic app is now available. So you can go to the App Store, and this is both for Android and for, of course, iPhone. And just look for heroic and look for this funky red wisdom compass. And using the heroic app for just 30 days has been shown to help your energy, production, and productivity and engagement, i.e. how well you're actually connecting with other people. And they've shown with early studies that just after 30 days, you're going to be 40% more energized, 20% more productive, and 15% more connected. It's very easy to use. I recommend to everyone to download it and start using it and see how they go with it. There are some great videos showing you how to use it inside the app already. If you're one of my patients and you want to share with me what you're doing, then fantastic. Yeah, so just go to heroic and heroic.us. So I'm going to put that there so you can actually say, if you just go to www. Oh, you can't see that now. There you go. If you just go to www.heroic.us, then you will actually go to where you need to go, because they're online as well. They've got all kinds of stuff, but they've got a free version, and I think that's all you'll actually need to do to actually use the basic part of the app, which is all you need. Okay, so let's just go back to that. So what is the heroic protocol? Well, when you actually go through the heroic mastery program, there's 10 major modules, and then there's actually 11. But there are 7 major objectives in the heroic protocol. One is know the ultimate game. What is this all about? What should you be playing at in a very serious way in order to improve your life? Forge anti-fragile confidence. So that basically means that if you get kicked, instead of, yes, you may fall over, but you get up tougher and stronger, like exercising. Optimize your big 3, and that's energy, work, and love. Make today a masterpiece. That's all about actually, instead of having yearly resolutions, have daily resolutions that you commit to every day. And that's part of why the heroic app works so well, because it reminds you of your daily commitments, and it reminds you can start again afresh every day. So they teach you how to do that. Master yourself, dominate the fundamentals. Fundamentals we'll talk about briefly in a moment. And activate your soul force. And so you may notice, for those of you who are fans of the Magnificent Seven, that there are again 7 steps in here, and there is overlap. But let's talk about the soul force. There is the soul force equation. And again, as the year goes on, I'll go into explaining this more, but you can, if you join the Heroic, I think they've got free stuff you can actually connect to, and I'll send that out as well. Soul force equals energy, and your energy is basically, it depends on, you know, all your lifestyle factors, which I'll cover in a moment, times your focus, times win, which is what's important now, and that's to the power of consistency. So the more consistent you are about anything, the more likely everything's going to work better. Okay, and so energy, there's all kinds of components to what creates great energy. I've done a webinar on energy. I did that last year with the Health Board. So if you didn't watch that, I recommend you watch that. Focus, what's important now, which is what you choose. What is the #1 thing you want to work on now, to the power of consistency? So what is soul force? Well, soul force is actually a better translation of how Mahatma Gandhi, basically freed India and Pakistan from British control. Now, the basic, or the not so exciting translation was it non-violent resistance or something? But it's actually more like truth force or soul force. And so actually trying to bring out the truth force in you, the soul force in you, to actually be who you are and actually become who you are meant to be. This is the equation that makes it all work, and that is what the Heroic protocol is all about. And I've said I've been through their mastery program and am now a certified Heroic coach. So the fundamentals, in many ways, and in fact the entire protocol, does actually link together well with the Magnificent Seven strategies to create optimal wellness and protection, because Think Right encompasses, well, all the tools in the mental mastery program, and it also encompasses all the mental side of Heroic, as does Talk Right. Then the fundamentals of drink right, eat right, move right, detox right, sleep right, help your body, brain and bowels work better, and that helps improve your sleep. And I've actually now condensed the Magnificent Seven and the Heroic protocol and the mental mastery thing into 3 main areas, which I now call the fantastic functional 3, which is functional movement, i.e. can you move, and are you training to move in the way that your body has to move on a daily basis? So for instance, as a chiropractor or a spinal functional therapist, as I now call myself, I have to be able to get up and move and twist around. So I have to train to be in the right shape to do that. But I also train in the right way so that I can run 5 kilometers without having to train for it. I also train so I can do plenty of press-ups, I can do chin-ups, and I can actually stay flexible as well. So I train in a way to keep my body going in the way that I want it to go for the next, well, at least another 50 years. I'm already 50 and I want to be going for at least another 50 years. And so if you're a nurse, you should train your body to function well as a nurse. Exercising as a nurse is great, and that gives you all kinds of stuff, but you actually want to actually train so you can do that. Just as an athlete, a tennis player doesn't just train for tennis by playing tennis. They actually go to the gym and they have a great diet. Same with football players and wrestlers. They all train to do what they do, even though they do a lot of what they do. And that's what we should be doing as laborers. That's what we should be doing as chiropractors. What we should be doing as doctors especially, who should be health educators. They should be actually aware of their functional movement and their functional nutrition. Is their nutrition actually allowing them to actually live at peak performance? And there's functional thought, which I also call functional philosophy, which is actually taking stuff and putting it to good use in lots of different tools and ways. So this now brings me to the #1 thing that we actually have to think of before anything else, and that's loneliness. Now, if you are someone who is not alone, then fine, you can skip this next 5 minutes. But if you think that you are suffering from loneliness, and that's something that lockdown led to a lot of, then it's actually really important to actually get that sorted in some way first of all. And I'll just go through the research in a moment. So loneliness, dictionary definition: the state of distress or discomfort that results when one perceives a gap between one's desires for social connection and actual experiences. So again, this does kind of hint at the fact that you can be a loner and you don't really feel alone because that's how you choose to be in so many ways. And you can also be surrounded by lots of people but actually feel alone because it's a subjective feeling, and this is the key, it's subjective in so many ways. The medical scientific, let's read a dictionary, and this is actually by some researchers who did a lot of research into loneliness: a universal condition that makes a person irritable, self-centered, depressed, and is associated with a 26% increase in the odds of premature mortality. So we have the dictionary, we have the medical scientific, and then we have what Mother Teresa thinks. Okay, Mother Teresa: the greatest disease in the West today is not TB or leprosy, it's being unwanted, unloved, and uncared for. We can cure physical diseases with medicine, but the only cure for loneliness, despair, and hopelessness is love. There are many in the world who are dying for a piece of bread, but there are many more dying for a little love. Now, this is true. There is more love that's needed in the world, and this is why I'm promoting world peace and self-peace. But a lot of that love can actually come from yourself, but it is superseded by the antidote for loneliness, because the research into loneliness has shown, but actually research in loneliness, and this is compiled by Dr. Brian Walsh, that loneliness leads to immune dysfunction, which is why, including increased viral susceptibility, which is why the lockdowns isolating people actually led to more immune dysfunction and have now led to all kinds of problems. This is why the lockdowns were a massive, in my opinion, and according to the research, which we knew this right at the beginning, I spoke about this, the lockdowns were a massive disastrous mistake on so many levels. So loneliness leads to more cardiovascular dysfunction and disease, endocrine dysfunction, motor muscle decline, that's muscle decline, memory impairment, increased dementia risk, and is as bad for your health as smoking. So thank you, people who are proposing lockdown, because they may as well have told everyone to smoke and would have got the same health benefits. So that's why I was against lockdowns from the beginning, because I knew it was going to be wrong if it lasted for more than 2 weeks. Now, if you think you might be lonely, but you're not sure, here's a simple quiz. You answer, if this is hardly ever, then you get 1 point. If this is some of the time, 2, and often 3. Notice there's no 0 for never, because some people do feel like this at some point, no matter who you are. How often do you feel that you lack companionship? Now, it does happen from time to time for me, but it is hardly ever. Some of the time, 2, often 3. How often do you feel left out? Yeah, does sometimes happen. And then how often do you feel, hasn't happened for many years though, how often do you feel isolated from others or even from others? How often do you feel isolated from others? Hardly ever, some of the time, often. So if you score between 3 and 5, then you're probably not lonely. If you score between 6 and 9, you are lonely. But here's the thing, if you think you are lonely, then you are lonely. If you think you're lonely, you're lonely. You don't need a quiz, you don't need some kind of expert to tell you. But this is the research. When you actually look at loneliness and people who actually thought they were alone, they felt alone. But if they actually felt they had meaning in their lives, then loneliness was not an issue if they felt that meaning and they lived that meaning. And there are 3 major domains of meaning. There's cognitive, which is the sense of I matter. There's the motivational, which is what I do in life matters. And there's the affective, which is engagement in actual life is what matters, and connecting with other people or just getting on and doing things and having so cognitive, motivational, and affective. And there are all kinds of ways to actually improve all of these, all kinds of ways. And the building sort of more meaning and more purpose in life completely counteracts sense of loneliness, completely counteracts it, which is why you get all these explorers who go out and head out on alone and then come back and they live a long and healthy life as well, if they didn't die in their exploration. And there are many tools in the think right part of the Magnificent Seven training that talk about the meaning of life. And some of the other training that I've done, like the original energy training and the Health Forge, actually looks at some of the things that give you your meaning. You become aware of those things and you actively engage them in every day. And that's one of the benefits of the Heroic app, because you actually write down these things that matter to you every day, and you actually tick them off and think about them every day. And it's very simple and it doesn't take very long to do. And so we have that. And so one such tool is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So I'm speeding through all of these so that we can get to where I want to get, but I want to give people more so they can come back and watch and think more. Okay, so Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now, Abraham Maslow was a fantastic psychologist, and he came up with these levels. And that first of all, we need to have all our physiological needs met. So, you know, breathing, food, water, sleep, homeostasis, excretion. So the basic bodily functions. And you can actually get, and that can make you sort of feel more secure. And even though there's levels, again, we can actually get meaning by helping other people meet these levels as well. So you can get your meaning in life by helping your family, your loved ones get physiologically set. And then there's the feeling of safety, which is this money coming in. You've got a roof over your head. Then there's love and connection, self-esteem, and then what's called self-actualization. Again, I'm going to be covering some more of these things as the year goes on. And there's also different levels of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There's, which I've spoken about in the past as well. There was Tony Robbins actually looked at this and changed it into human needs psychology. And I will be speaking about that. And then another guy who I sort of know, Jesson James, he's actually taken that one step further and refined it. So I say there's different levels to all these tools, but you can use all of these tools and these things to help you find more meaning and find a better way in life. So I hope that is being understood so far. Thank you very much. Now let's get to 2020. Oh, 2023. Okay, 2023. It's the stop. It's the start, rather. It's not the stop, it's the start that stops most people. This is a quote from one of my current mentors, Brian Kane. He says this all the time. It's the start that stops most people. They get so overwhelmed. Like, for instance, I've just shown you all this stuff about the Heroic Protocol. I've showed you all this stuff about mental mastery. I've shown you stuff about the Magnificent Seven health strategies. I've spoken about a previous webinar that I've done, several webinars that I've done, and you think, well, where do I start? Where do I start? Well, we're going to simplify things, okay? And we're going to start by talking a little bit about the pillar 5, which is process over outcome. So let's just take outcome of weight loss. Okay, now weight loss is your outcome, so that's at the top there, okay? And where you are is at the bottom. And your outcome, say you want to lose 5 stone, 2 stone, 1 stone, 14 pounds, whatever. And if you focus purely on, okay, I want to lose 5 stone, but as each day goes by, and even each week, sometimes nothing's going to be happening and you're going to be feeling like you're going nowhere. And also when you reach your goal, which is what so often happens with weight loss, is you reach a goal, you've eaten in such a way to reach a goal, and then you stop. And that's because you've focused on the outcome as opposed to the process. The process, like quite funky here, is climbing the stairs. Now, for instance, if you want to get to the top of the stairs, you don't just focus on trying to get to the top of the stairs in one go. And if you don't get to the top of the stairs in one go, you don't go back to the bottom and start again. So, for instance, you don't try and jump up a whole flight of 20 stairs. And if you don't get all the way there, you're not disappointed because you know you've got to take it one step at a time. And it's actually the process of focusing on the daily things you have to do. So, for instance, to lose 5 stone, if you are 5 stone overweight, you have to start thinking and eating and being in the way that someone who is 5 stone later is like all the time. What do they do? How do they eat? How does it all interact? And again, mindset does play a big part in this more than anything else. And they've shown consistently that actually, if you want to permanently lose weight, actually looking at mindset can be more important than diet or anything else. So conquering stress, for instance. So focusing on what you're doing today is the real key rather than focusing on the outcome. You want to know what your outcome is, but once you've figured out what you're actually aiming towards, you want to focus on the daily little processes. So outcomes cannot be controlled exactly, like winning a game or losing an exact amount of weight in a specific time, but processes can be controlled and will improve the chances of getting the outcome you want. So what are the little processes that you need to start following on a daily basis to get you to where you want to go, whether you want to run 5 kilometers, or whether you want to run 5 kilometers faster, or whether you want to be able to do 100 press-ups, or whether you want to be able to do chin-ups, or whether you want to gain muscle, or whether you want to lose weight, or whether you want to be less stressed, whether you want to be happier, whether you want your immune system to work better. There are little things that you can do each day to help yourself. And so process over outcome, the ability to stay focused on the journey without getting too caught up in the destination. The process is all the little steps needed to reach your goal. The outcome is your final destination. The only way to reach a goal is by devoting to the process, i.e. climb stairs one step at a time. I hope that's clear. By committing to the process, we direct our forces to what is actually in our control. Be able to execute a plan consistently with or without feeling motivated. Yes, your actions trump your feelings. So it's not about how you feel on a daily basis. But if you want to have a big goal, it's about what you actually do, whether you feel like doing it or not. You can always win as you are improving daily. And that's one of the things about the Heroic app, is you're ticking boxes and you're saying this, I'm doing the things, I'm going to get there. Okay, so if you are feeling overwhelmed, this is what I really strongly recommend you do, is you just focus on 2 immediate things over the next 30 days. You look at one good habit that you're wanting to either start or increase, and you try and do it daily, or you try and do it more daily, or whatever it is, the habit, or whatever it is. But also, likewise, you want to stop or decrease one of the bad habits that's getting in your way of getting to your goal or your target. And so sometimes, because you're starting one thing and stopping one thing, you're going to get massive gains, because not only are you stopping holding yourself back so much, you're increasing your leverage and your motivation forwards. So is there something that you can start doing more of, or is there something you can just start doing? And you know that if you miss one day, but you're going to do it the next day, if you just focus, every day is a new day. And is there something you can stop doing, or even just decrease doing? So for instance, if you want to stop smoking, can you just find ways to decrease smoking and find ways to start moving more? Can you find a way to start eating more healthy food and find ways to stop eating so much junk food, rubbish? So you do 2 things at once. So I hope that's clear. And yes, I read one of his books last year, Jocko Willink. He's a Navy SEAL. If you stop looking for a shortcut and find your discipline and your will, then you will find your freedom. Or, as the name of one of the books is written, is discipline equals freedom. And so that may seem a little bit, is that an oxymoron or ironic? One of the two. But basically, it's actually your discipline that leads you to the freedom you want. And so even though you're confining yourself and constricting yourself, those confinements and constrictions actually lead to where you want to go and give you the freedom to do what you want to do. So, a brief recap. We've gone through the Heroic Protocol, the 7 steps. I've been through the benefits of the Heroic Protocol, which is more energy, better productivity, more connectivity in just 30 days. I've gone through, told you what the 10 pillars are, I've told you what the 7 health strategies are, and I've given you a little bit of an outline on outcome over process goals. If you really do want help implementing this now, you can't wait a whole year to get everything, then we can do some coaching together. However, what is next for most people, if you haven't seen the Jumpstart 2023 Create a Positive Ad Campaign in Your Brain, if you haven't seen that webinar, then watch that webinar. Likewise, if you haven't seen the Health Forge Energy webinar, watch that webinar as well. Start applying some stuff. straight away. And the next 5 days, well, actually, it's not the next 5 days from now, but what we'll be talking about or reintroducing next week is the 5-day, £5 detox protocol, which is 5 days of training. It's free, but we'll talk to you more about that, which I plan to do on Monday at 4:30. Yes, that's when I plan to do the live stuff every week. And if you are new to everything and you haven't reached out to me at all, then you can go to beatbloodpressure.com or bodyimbalanceuk.com, and you can connect with me and look at all the different options you have of working with me and all the things that we can do for you. Okay, so that's it for now. Thank you very much for engaging and for being here live. And yeah, I look forward to comments on YouTube, Facebook, exactly, and well, wherever this all goes. Bye for now. And if you do want to call the clinic, you can call us on 01707 662 704. But you've got the website details. You can just rewind and have a look. Okay, bye for now.